Good evening, folks. Going to call the meeting to order here at 1 Academy Street, the town office, Tuesday, June 15th at 7:05. Yeah, I'd just like to remind everybody on Zoom that your participants on Zoom, you can keep your self muted, please, until you're ready to speak. And when you do speak, please note that everybody can hear anything in your surroundings. And the first item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Executive session, yeah, personnel. Mark, got anything?
Yeah, under law enforcement, we'll put under C, Swanton PD committee meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Kathy?
I'm good, thank you.
Nicole? Ed?
I'm all set, thanks.
David?
Yep.
You got one thing, the rec commission, you want to reappoint somebody, you want to add that?
Yeah, we can make that under new business.
New business, yeah. New business C, gonna be rec commissioner reappointment. Okay. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes from June 1st select board meeting?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 1st select board as read.
A second.
I'll second those.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Public comment. Anybody got anything to add under public comment that's not on the agenda? Okay. Law enforcement. Animal control officer monthly report. We have Jim here tonight. Go ahead, Jim.
On May 6th, I picked up a dog. It was a VSP arrest, a Vermont State Police arrested somebody for drunk driving, and I picked up the dog and put it in the kennel at the town garage. I found the dog's owner the next day and returned the dog to the owner in Lamont. Then I found out the arrest was actually in North Hero. State troopers driving through Swanton called dispatch. She said, "Where are you?" He said, "Swanton." She called me. I thought the arrest was here, so I went and got the dog. It should have been like the North Hero ACO probably.
Shouldn't have had nothing to do with us.
Well, thank you though.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
On May 7th, I invested dog versus dog at 18 Church, ticketed for unlicensed dog. On 5/8, a cat was hit by a car on 24 Donaldson. The cat was alive but injured, so I took it to Bev's, where it was euthanized.
Okay.
On May 10th, two calls for dogs at large at 18 Church. Dog went under the fence, harassed the neighbor's dog, and was seen in the cemetery. Nobody answered the door, so I left a note and my card. On 5/10, call for two dogs at large by the river. I called Kelly Quinville and left a message on her phone that her dogs might be loose. On 5/14, had a chicken complaint. 5/14 had another cat complaint. I just talked to him on the phone about that. 5/16, 138 Middle Road, dogs at large at 200 Middle Road. Dog sitter lost the dogs. And then 5/16/21, 18 Church Street, Apartment 2, dog at large. It's the same dog. I've dealt with this dog quite a bit, and the dog was also in the cemetery, and she was ticketed. And that's it for me.
Okay. That's it for me. Yep. Just a couple questions, Jim. So the chicken complaint, is that something you acted on, or did you
I just went over and told them that the neighbors were concerned because the chickens kept on going across the road and the lawn. I mean, we don't have a chicken ordinance.
I was just
or
going to
anything,
say,
so
we don't have anything.
I just
usually
told
don't
them
do
that,
so.
you know, that their neighbors were,
Fair enough. Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yep. And that the cat you took to the Bev's, is that they take care of that? That's not
Yeah.
gonna come back on the town.
No,
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 probably
that's,
have a fun for it or
I
something.
only take it back, a cat that I would think was gonna die.
Yeah.
And this one definitely was not gonna make it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, right thing to do.
All right, anybody got any questions on that report?
Nope.
Right.
Okay. Discussion, dog issue of Mark Nolan. We have Mr. Nolan on here?
I'm here.
You are.
Good evening.
Good evening. And thank you for taking the time to hear me out. I'd like to go through a timeline and let you know what happened to me.
Yeah.
First of all, for those of you who don't
turn
know
that
me,
over?
Yeah, hang on 1 second, Mark. I love it. I just want to add one thing before you start, Mark, that you certainly can speak, and I'm more than willing to allow you to speak. I just want to make it clear that we're going to keep this conversation civilized. We're not going to, no finger pointing, you know. I don't want it to turn into a free-for-all. So, but I certainly will listen to you speak and tell us what you got to say.
well, thank you for that.
Yep.
So let me introduce myself. My name is Mark Nolan. I live at 21 JV Road in Swanton, Vermont. I'm originally from Westwood, Massachusetts, but I'm no stranger to Swanton. I have been coming here for vacation since the early 1960s, so I'm quite familiar with the town, and I love it very much. One of the reasons that I came back. Some of my background, I have 2 degrees from Northeastern University and a degree from MIT Sloan School of Management, so you can assure that I'll conduct myself professionally here. Don't worry about that. So I'd like to go through the timeline and tell you what happened to me starting last Friday. On June 4th, I contacted the animal control officer at 3:31 from my office at Century Arms, and I left a voicemail, and I said that there was a dog across the way from me who had been tied up for 4 days on a short leash, and I didn't see any rabies tags or any tags. I have the conversation recorded. If we need to get it, we can. But I just asked that the dog officer go and check that situation out. It had been barking all day, and I really kind of felt bad for the dog. So I never heard back from Mr. Benson, never heard anything. My understanding is that he might have been in the neighborhood on a Saturday talking to Jesse Spear, but I don't know that for a fact. So on Sunday at 1:37 p.m., myself and my 2 yellow Labrador retrievers headed out to my Jeep on my property. At that time, the dog that I had called Mr. Benson about previously came onto my property. He started to growl at my yellow Labrador retriever. I have 2 of them. One is 3 years old, one is 1. And I live by myself. I have 3 grown children. So this dog latched onto my Labrador retriever's neck. It would not let go. I was scared for my dog's life. I took the dog by the collar, which had no tags or any identification, and I started pulling it off of my dog. It would not let go. I punched the dog, I kicked the dog, I did everything possible to release him from my dog, and he finally did, but he latched onto me. He tore the tendon in my left thumb, punctured my thumbnail, and held on to that hand for quite a while until he let go and then lunged for my face, at which time I was able to put my right hand up to block myself, and the dog latched onto that hand as well. This all taking place on my property. I was again fighting the dog. This is a pit bull, Rottweiler, or a lab kind of mix, about 75 pounds. I'm 60 years old. So I'm not about to let this dog kill my puppy and my yellow lab, and I'm not going to let it kick me either. So I finally was able to kick it in certain areas hard enough that it let go. Now, my yellow lab was already bloodied, both of my hands were bloodied, and the dog began to take off after my yellow lab, my 1-year-old. It's just a puppy. So, fortunately, a great neighbor that lives across the street from here, is a summer resident, Brad, was able to distract the dog enough to keep it away from my little yellow lab. So I made sure that my older lab was secured. I brought him into my house. I was bloodied everywhere. and I retrieved my .357 Magnum revolver, which I'm legally allowed to carry. So I went out of the house and I explained to the person that had custody of the dog that he needs to get control of the dog or I will shoot it. So he did not gain control of that dog at all. So finally, the dog retreated. It came after me and then I kicked at it. I still had a gun in my hand. I did not fire it. And he went back over to the 93 Hog Island property where he originated. So finally, we were able to get my young dog safe and in control with Brad Matote. And he's my neighbor. So the dog then again took a lunge at me, coming at me probably from about maybe 30 feet. So I'm a dog lover and I'm a sportsman, and I could not bring myself to kill the dog. Instead, I discharged one warning round in front of the dog. There were too many people around to kill the dog. That's not my call. There were 7-year-olds in the neighborhood. There's elderly people and a lot of people that know this commotion. So I'm not going to make the matter worse, but I am going to do what I need as necessary to protect myself. So I secure my dogs. I'm completely bloody. There's blood all over my house. So I take myself to the Northwest Medical Center. On the way, naturally, the state police were, on the way to the site, because naturally a good neighbor would call if they even heard a single shot fired, even though we're in a pretty quiet area, but it's not hunting season. So that was great that they did that. So apparently the state police went and investigated the scene. They took some statements, and then they came to the emergency room where I was being treated in St. Albans. The officer took my information, my ID. I explained the whole situation to him. He's like, "You're fine. We just want to make sure that you're okay." And he described the people that had the custody of the dog as sketchy. So I come home from the hospital, and I get my dogs, and I see that dog that attacked me is in the same place it was last Friday when I called Mr. Benson. Clearly, I'm not very happy about this. So now I'm afraid to even take my dog for a walk. I don't know if it's going to get loose again. I don't know what's going on with it. My dogs are probably afraid. I'm afraid. I'm not somebody that walks up and down Tabor Road with a firearm. I just don't. I'm not going to do that. I shouldn't have to in this town. I moved here because it's a safe and beautiful area, and it needs to stay that way. So what happened from there is I called Mr. Benson. We exchanged some messages. I finally talked to him, and I explained the situation, and I asked him to come get the dog. Mr. Benson refused to get the dog. He said that he could not do that without the authorization of the Board of Selectmen. I find that odd because he can certainly take a stray or anything that he has, and I have records of him doing previously, but he chose not to. I don't know why. I'm not going to guess. I'm not in his head. I would be afraid of the dog. I had to fight him. So in any case, what happens is that the dog officer, Mr. Benson, tells me that the guy who gave it to them about a month ago is coming from Richford to get it. I'm like, well, that really doesn't help us very much right now, does it? It does not. So Mr. Benson also, we missed catching a report, and he had said that he had left a card at my door, and then I took my dogs for ice cream, and then came back, the other dog was still there. Mr. Benson said that he couldn't come back and take my report. Now he was getting off of work, and he was dealing with a state bird, whatever that means. So, nonetheless, Mr. Benson refused to take the dog. He had the opportunity, and I feel that he should have. Whether or not there is specific language in the ordinance, I've reviewed it. I think there is an overall arching governance that would have allowed him to do that. But if anything, good judgment would have done so, because his failure to do that also put the residents of Richford in jeopardy. So the person that owned the dog, his name is Tanner Hart. So that name was ascertained by Sergeant Chad Parra, I'm going to tell you right now, an outstanding job, and really the only person in the town of Swanton that has helped me so far. So we had ascertained the name of this person that came to get the dog, because I had to call them because the person threatened my life. So in fact, yes, the person was coming from Richford. He's a convicted criminal, and he pulled his truck into the driveway where the house the dog was being kept. He puts the dog in the house, backs down the driveway, backs all the way down JView over my road, over my lawn, and sees me standing there, and begins to, I'm not going to use the same words because it's a public forum, but he was going to F me up. He's going to get me with a baseball bat, MF this, MF that, and he's off on a tirade, and he's got the dog in the front seat of the car. Certainly quite an upstanding citizen. Glad the dog was turned over to him. So, nonetheless, Mr. Benson made the comment that I want the dog to go to Richford. I'm like, whether or not, what the bylaw says whether you should do that or not, it makes no difference. The reality is that it's moving the problem. And it's moving a problem that bit another human being. Me. Bloody. 27 puncture wounds. And I have the pictures and the documentation. If you'd like me to show it to you, I will. So from there, Mr. Benson says, well, I'll come and take your report tomorrow morning at 10:30. No, I'm sorry, I work. So Mr. Benson came to my house that Monday evening. And when I opened the door, I said to him, why didn't you take the dog? Mr. Benson's reply to me specifically and verbatim, I remember this distinctly, and I asked him, why isn't it being tested for rabies? Mr. Benson replied that he would have to cut its head off. So, and I will also add that earlier on Sunday, when I talked to Mr. Benson and asked him to please take the dog, he specifically told me that he didn't know what to do with it. He didn't know what to do with it. He was dealing with a state bird, he's off. So, you can't make this stuff up. So he comes to the house, and I ask him that question, and his reply is that he has to cut the dog's head off. And I'll be honest, I was very direct with Mr. Benson, and I told him that that is ridiculous, and that the dog needs to be quarantined for a 10-day period of time. Then it's determined if it has rabies or not, and it's determined and if it does have rabies, yes, a portion of the brain is sent to the state lab for testing. Not, we just cut its head off. That's absurd. So apparently, Mr. Benson, he didn't like the way I responded to him, and I will admit that I made a remark about Knuckles dragging on the driveway on his way out, and I apologize for that. So I've never heard from Mr. Benson again. And also, Nicole Draper inserted herself in this process on Sunday night, and she had come out and told me that she was there because she wants to make sure that I receive the services that I need from the dog officer. And she also mentioned the police, that she wants to make sure that the police do what they're supposed to do, and a lot of nice things, but not a lot of substance. So be that as it may, so I'm here. I don't know where the dog is. I have serious lacerations on my hand, which I had to be treated for twice in the emergency room, and I don't know where the dog is, and I don't know if I have rabies or not. So at the 72nd hour, which is the time that you have to wait to make sure that you don't have, or the dog doesn't, something has rabies, or you've identified it, at least to quarantine it. If you don't do so within 72 hours, you need to start a regimen of rabies vaccinations. And I want to tell you what that involves. That involves an injection into my abdomen, into my rear end, and several other spots around the 27 puncture wounds that are on my hand, which I can gladly show you. So that's not good news for me. Not at all. But at the last hour, I received an email from Mr. Benson with no words to it, not Nolan, here's a rabies certificate, nothing. But this document that looks like it was scanned in from the PDF. Now, I can tell you a little bit about my background. I'm an engineer. I've also worked in pharmaceuticals. I understand validation and things of that nature. And so this document has no vet header on it. It has no rabies lot number. It has no rabies tag number. Nothing. And these are basic things that myself, as an owner of only 2 dogs, certainly would recognize as fraudulent. And it turns out that that document was fraudulent, and that document was negotiated to me by Mr. Benson. Undisputable. If further, it was backed up or confirmed that it was coming by Ms. Draper. And at the time, Ms. Draper told me that Mr. Benson is also working on getting an affidavit from the owner of the dog. This is this Tanner Hart, who's a convicted criminal. So
Hey,
let me
Mark.
ask you this.
Mark, I'm gonna stop you. We don't have to keep referring to that. You can use his name, but you don't have to go any further than that.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. I didn't hear
You keep referring to this gentleman that owns the dog as a criminal. We don't need to discuss that. That has nothing to do with what this we're talking about.
It has everything to do with it.
No, it doesn't. Just use his name, or that's the end of our conversation. I told you that. You don't have to keep referring to the person as that. Just use his name, and then so you can finish talking.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So, Mr. Tanner is a person of questionable integrity. Having negotiated a fraudulent document, I'm wondering how you would possibly take an affidavit from the same person and say that they have, and use that as a qualifying quarantine for 10 days. And that is exactly what Ms. Draper told me was going to happen. So from my perspective, this person of questionable integrity, having negotiated a fraudulent document, was then going to be trusted to quarantine the dog and give a statement saying that he did so. Well, I will also add that I won't call Mr. Tanner any other names, but I will tell you that the town has issued a citation for him for disturbing the peace or whatever it may be, and criminal threatening, because he threatened to kill me, sir. I guess I can't call that criminal, but he threatened to kill me. So, I also have a restraining order on him. Maybe that's not criminal. But there will be a hearing, and there'll be charges, and we'll know to refer to him appropriately at that time, I suppose, if that's what you like. But at the end of the day, I have this fraudulent rabies certificate. We've confirmed that it's fraudulent. So I go to my doctor, Dr. Hundley, and I say, what do I do? He just looks at me and he just shakes his head. And he said, you have to start these treatments. So, here's where we are. Now, whether or not anything has happened since then, I don't know. I hope it did. I hope that somehow somebody got in touch with the right people finally, and somebody's going to figure out whether this dog has rabies or not, and hopefully it's going to be euthanized. This dog doesn't have a great life to begin with. Nonetheless, there was no communication to me from either Mr. Benson or Ms. Draper since the fraudulent document appeared from the person of questionable integrity. So I'd like you to ask yourselves and let me know if you think that all of this is okay and that it was handled just as you would have it. And if not, what would you have done differently, and what you plan to do to mitigate the situation? I hope that's professional enough for you.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your speech and your information. I will add that you went out on, and Jim is here, and you probably can't see him on camera, but Jim is here. I'm talking to Jim. He's here in person. You went out and met Mr. Tanner on Monday, was it? No, Saturday.
Saturday.
You went out. He went and met with Mr. Tanner on Saturday, and he had someone else accompany him, and he signed the documents he needed to sign, saying the dog's quarantined. Then he has to go back on.
Going back right after this.
Okay, going back tonight to check it again. The dog.
10th day.
Yeah, for the 10th day to verify that the dog's not showing signs of rabies, and to sign the paperwork again. And it was the owner's choice to have the dog euthanized in next week, I think it is, or whatever,
21st.
on the 21st. So That had
So,
nothing to
okay,
do with us.
can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
So when were you planning on telling me all this? At this meeting?
Yep.
This being the 10th day after I've already started the treatment.
Well, you told me the other day when I talked to you on the phone that you were gonna start the treatment anyways, after we had the discussion about the vaccination papers that wasn't legit.
I had to start that procedure because on the 10th day I would start it because we had nothing but that fraudulent paper. So nobody's told me anything about this quarantine or euthanization until now, right now. So I'm sitting here for 10 days, and this being the 10th day with no communication from Ms. Draper or Mr. Benson about anything, like nothing. So, of course, under the direction of my physician, I start the treatment. So, so this is the 10th day, so the person of questionable integrity is supposed to sign an affidavit, which we're going to trust is true, considering he negotiated a fraudulent document. So that's okay, I guess, if it's okay with you. Wouldn't be okay with me, but be that as it may, if that is enough meritocracy for you, sir, then that's pretty good. So I don't trust him. I don't trust the signature. I've been burnt already.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, Jim went out there on Saturday with a law enforcement officer. He signed the paper in front of him and the law enforcement officer. So obviously it was his signature on the paper when he signed it.
Well, I haven't seen any of that.
Actually, I didn't go with the law enforcement officer.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going to, and then
Oh, okay.
he had already talked to me the day before. He said there's no need to, that he didn't think he'd cause me any trouble.
All right.
So I went by myself.
Okay. Well, anyways, you went in person
Yeah.
with him. You signed the paper, and actually, yeah, you have a legal document. You have a picture to sign the paper. So.
Yeah.
And you're going back to
Sure,
it tonight and do the
took
same
videos
thing.
and pictures of the dog.
Absolutely.
Through the chair. So can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So, when did you receive this paper?
Signed paper
What day?
Saturday.
Saturday. I guess it was Jim received it on Saturday. I think I got it on Saturday also. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so can I just ask out of curiosity, like when you had planned to send that to me?
I don't have an answer for that, to tell you the truth.
So it being the 10th day, you know it's the 10th day, and you still haven't sent it to me, and you know that I need to start the treatment. So how is that not negative?
But the bottom line is the dog's not vaccinated. Period.
Well, we could have figured that out when I called Mr. Benson on June 4th.
Yeah.
So when you have a dog that a neighbor calls and asks for an inquiry, and what is the process for that? And you find out, let's say you did go or you didn't go, when you find out that it's not registered, it can't get registered without a vaccination, what do you do with the dog? Like when you have a stray, like what do you do with the dog? And why didn't...
Normal procedure, Marcus, when we go out on a complaint for a dog and we find out that it's not registered and we don't have vaccination paperwork, they got 10 days to get it registered and vaccinated. That's a normal procedure that we always go by. And if it's not, we go back in 10 days, they get fined, and then we'll have to go from there.
So when there's a human bite, you let the dog go
Actually, that was
out of
before the
Swanton,
bite.
is that correct?
And that was before anything ever happened with the dog. He went on a complaint. The first complaint was because it was a bark complaint, I assume, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I might be able to clear this up a little bit.
Go ahead.
So I got 5 calls about that dog all in one day.
Yep.
And I called some of the people back. I talked to an ex-officer from Swanton PD and a couple other people. Mr. Nolan said if I needed to call him back, here's my number. I didn't really need to call him back because he left a very lengthy message saying, you know, what was happening. It was for a barking dog. I went over there and talked to him about the barking dog, ways to get the dog to stop barking, and with all animals I'm in contact with, I checked for its license. It wasn't licensed. I checked for vaccination paper. It wasn't. So I told Mr. Thompson what he had to do to get it, you know, vaccinated and licensed and everything. So he, sorry,
All right.
I'm always on call. So they, he had started with the paperwork to do it. The state does a program for people that don't have a lot of money.
Yep.
And he had been doing that when I went over to see him about the bite.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went over to Mr. Thompson's house before I even got a complaint about the bite because I'd heard about it from a neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over there before I ever had a complaint. As far as like quarantining dogs, I've never, in 5 years, hundreds of cases, I've never taken a dog for quarantine. It's always quarantined at the home. In the old days they used to, but that's not done anymore.
Yeah.
As far as I know, not around here.
No.
I let the dog go to Richford. Technically I should have made it stay at that house. It just seemed like a good idea to get it out of the neighborhood. Richford is in Franklin County, same county as we're in. It didn't seem that hard to keep track of. You do have to have tissue to check a dog for
Rabies. Yeah.
rabies.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The document, the fake document,
Mm-hmm.
did not come from Mr. Hart. He told me it was his aunt, and her name was either Ruth or Rose.
Yeah.
It seems sketchy. It's not like the ones around here, but I thought, well, maybe it's some Richford,
Yeah.
you know, so I had no way of knowing. I'm pretty sure that dog does not have rabies. It would have been showing signs already if it did.
Yeah.
I'm going back up tonight just because it's the 10th day though.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I have
Thanks,
a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, real quick, and I'm gonna let the rest of the board speak.
So, when you approach a dog that is on somebody's property and they don't have a license or rabies vaccination, do you give them a ticket? I've noticed in some of the dogs.
No, they get a warning first.
Warning first, Mark.
You give him a warning,
Yep.
and then did you come back like the next day and give him
No,
a
you got
ticket?
10 days.
Like I said, we give everybody 10 days to get here and register it and get it vaccinated. There's normal
My last
procedure.
question is, how many human bites have you dealt with in your
I don't
career?
know.
How many?
Human bites?
How many? I don't know.
Yeah, quite a few of them.
Quite
You don't know
a lot.
how many?
Yeah. Huh?
You don't
A lot.
know how many human bites you've dealt with?
Why would I keep that tallied in my hat? How many bites I dealt with?
I'm asking Mr. Benson.
Yeah, so
Why would he keep a tally of it in his book how many bites he dealt
too
with?
many to count. A lot.
And they're on monthly reports if there's a dog bite incident, but
A lot. So
Yeah.
a lot of them. So you always let the dog that has been a human
yeah,
stay. You don't quarantine it.
usually stays in their home.
Yeah.
Yep. We never took a dog and quarantined anywhere.
Right. And you're familiar with Chapter 11 of the town ordinance, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else want to speak? I'm gonna let the board speak, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark, this is Mark Rushlow. I did respond to one of your emails, so I just want to clarify to you that there was no action from the board. You didn't hear from us. And in fact, I did respond to one of your emails when you were asking for police coverage. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I just want to clarify that somebody else did respond to you and certainly was approved for the police coverage down there. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, and I just wanted to explain why I asked for the coverage.
No, you don't have to. I mean, not to cut you off, you already have. I just want to verify what you said to what I know is fact, that you said that nobody else from the board responded, you heard from nobody. In fact, that's not the case.
Well, I didn't hear from either Nicole Draper or Mr. Benson, and those were my point of contacts in terms of the dog.
Yeah.
The other issue that you contacted me of was with my personal safety, because the person of questionable integrity had threatened to kill me and F me up with a baseball bat.
And that part of it, I'll tell you, Mark, that really has nothing to do with the select board. That is a police issue when someone threatens you. I made that clear to you on the phone. We had a couple of conversations, so that part of it has nothing to do with the select board. Anybody else want to add anything? Mark, do you want to add anything?
Yes, Mark, I've made the rest of the board aware that you and I had a pleasant conversation on Sunday. So I don't have anything else to add. Thank you for taking the time to discuss this with us.
You're welcome.
Got anything ahead, Nicole.
Mark, Nicole Draper, we have spoke quite a few times. When Mr. Benson contacted me stating that he had responded to a call from you and you had expressed that you were unsatisfied with his outcome, I quickly responded back to you that night on Sunday the 6th. I came to your home and spoke to you with the 2 officers that were attending. And I quickly followed up on everything. I followed up the next day with the town clerk, the board chair, Mr. Rushlow, the town administrator, the health officer, as well as the animal control officer. And I've tried to continually keep you in the loop. The last time we spoke together, you gave me the impression that you didn't want to deal with me anymore and that you were going to continue to deal with Mr. Gilmet because he is the board chair, that you thought that I was a junior select person and that I didn't have the authority to handle situations like that. I have been in continued following, all of the events that have happened because not only your safety is important to me as well as Orr and Tabor, as I've expressed to you on many times. And I thank you for your time to come here tonight to share, your followings with us.
I think, sure, through the chair, and respond.
You got anything else?
So the issue here is communication. Whether or not you've done everything you've said that you've done, I have no way of knowing that. So whatever the internal workings are that you say you've done and all that stuff, it should be done. But you need to communicate that to me. I do believe that you are a junior person, and I don't believe that you should be supervising safety employees. I have had a bad experience with this.
I have to disagree with you, Mark. I think she does a fine job of what she does, and I'll be perfectly honest with it, it's a thankless job. All of this is. Nobody's ever happy. There's always somebody.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not thanking you profusely. I appreciate your time here. I think that it could have been handled a lot better, a lot more professionally, and I think the communication could have been much better. And I will ask you again to please put yourself in my shoes. I don't know of anybody on the board who has been viciously attacked by a Rottweiler pit bull. And I'm going to leave you with this. If that dog attacked the 7-year-old that was next to me, it's not very likely that that dog would fight it off, or anybody that's in their 80s or anything like that. And to further let it go to another community is really putting us at a risk, and it's putting that community at a risk. And I think that it was very bad judgment to let that happen. And I don't think that that it was handled well. I don't really think that Ms. Draper should be managing people who are in a position of public
I'm going to stop you right there, Mark. I've heard enough about you picking on Nicole. I'm not going to deal with that. She does a fine job what she's doing. She's going to continue doing what she's doing. Do you have anything else you'd like to finish with?
No, and I'm really sorry to upset you, sir. I'm just upsetting
Well, you're picking on Nicole, and I'm not going to tolerate it.
I'm not picking on anybody, sir.
Well, you are. Anything else you'd like to add
I'm making a
tonight?
statement of fact, and I'm entitled to my opinion in this meeting.
Yep, you sure are. But I warned you before you started. I wasn't going to tolerate and picking on anybody or any of that. So.
I'm not picking on anybody, sir.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add so we can move on?
I do, but I will reserve that for later.
Okay. Thank you for your concerns. Anything else on that issue? We're good.
No, it's an unfortunate incident, and if there's anything we can take and learn from it, we will, but again, it is what it is. I don't think we took any inappropriate channels.
I don't think we did either.
Is there
Okay.
anyone on here who wants to talk about this?
What's that?
Is there any of the people here who want to talk about what happened?
I don't think there is. No. PD, you
Yep.
wanted to add something for PD?
Oops, sorry.
Is Mary trying to speak?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I actually would like to make a statement. And
Sure.
my name is Mary Stanley, and I live at 101 Hog Island Road here in Swanton. I won't take up much of your time. I too was a witness to this whole scenario that went down. Actually, I didn't physically see the altercation between Mark and the dogs, but I too had spoken with Mr. Benson about, first off, the dogs barking. I just want to echo Mr. Nolan's sentiments in that My 2.5-year-old granddaughter was scheduled to come and visit with me on that particular day that Mr. Nolan was attacked, and Ada would have been in the backyard on the other side of the hedges from that dog had he got loose at the time she was there playing in the sprinkler, which was our plan. Down the road from us, there's a 9-year-old who rides his bike regularly. And I believe on the corner of the road where Mr. Nolan lives, there's a 7-year-old little boy who's outside oftentimes without parents because it's a small, quaint community with not a lot of problems like this in the past. My husband is aged. He is very healthy and gets around a lot, but at 80, had he been outside with Ada and the sprinkler, I'm not sure that dog, having taken after either one of them would have survived. That is a massive dog. And I too had called Mr. Benson Friday night, I think. Again, Saturday, his voicemail was full. I understand that he was probably very busy with phone calls and complaints about the dog. He did tell me at one point he'd never had so many calls about one dog in the same day. But I just want to point out that that particular dog, again, being relocated to another community with small children who are in the same category as our granddaughter and the other youngsters in the community, could have been a catastrophe. I'm not happy with the way this went down. I think that there should have been more done to address the dog issue from the beginning. The dog was left on a very short leash. It was 90 degrees outside. At times it didn't have water or food with it. And I think more should have and could have been done by the ACO, the Animal Control Officer, to make sure that that dog was comfortable, at least. I was not out to get the dog in trouble in any way, shape, or form. I was worried about the dog. It just was in inhumane conditions, and nothing was really done about that at the time. And I'm convinced that that in part was why the dog snapped the way he did. It seemed confused. At one point it wanted to play, at one time it wanted to attack. It came through the hedges, my hedges, from the other side, which is a deep hedge. It's 3 feet wide. It crawled under the hedges, and I couldn't see the leash. I started to walk up to the dog. That dog took one look at me. He bared his teeth, he snarled, and he lunged and barked at me on my own property. And the man who was supposed to be in control of him on the other side, this Mark Thomas, did nothing but try to call the dog back. I had to tell him when the dog was just at me, pull the dog back under the hedges. He wasn't even of a sound enough mind to do that. So I just want to say that I feel like this could have been handled much better. I feel like we were able to dodge a bullet for our young people in the community. Unfortunately, Mr. Nolan was severely injured. His hands have not recovered yet. And thank goodness that no small child or an elderly person in this community was attacked by that dog, because I think we would be looking at much more serious injuries or possibly death resulting from that. So I won't take up any more time of your meeting, but please know that we expect more from the Animal Control Officer in responding to these particular problems. And I know that there are ordinances in place, and I'm in the hopes that the Animal Control Officer, Jim Benson, has a chance to review those so that we're sure that he's up on all of the newest and most recent ordinances that are in place. So I don't feel that that was the case. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Stanley.
Okay. All right. Your PDs we were talking about.
Yes. So part of the last meeting, there was discussion around the Swanton PD and the coverage, or what we felt was questionable. We set up a committee. Select board was myself and Mr. White, and then Reg met today. Mr. Para and Mr. Forgive how I pronounce his last name. I always have trouble with that.
Do we want them to go?
Just say David.
David, if I may.
I didn't mean to stop you.
Go ahead.
Is it all right if he goes, or should we wait? Have him wait?
I was gonna have him wait just.
Okay, you wait a minute.
If we could.
When he's done talking.
Well, I'm meeting Richard at 8:30.
Okay, I won't take no long sometimes.
Okay. Well, I finish real quick. Then we'll.
I'm sorry. So we met today at 4 o'clock at the Village Complex. discussed the pros and cons of the last meeting, what we felt we could have done better, or talked about things that maybe we spoke about, probably should have been handled a little bit different, so to speak. I certainly want to recognize and reiterate from my point, I think Swanton Village PD does a good job. I think that there are times that we don't understand as a board, or I guess speak for myself, that what that job entails. We ask for contracted 56 hours a week. What we're getting out of that 56 hours a week is, I think, from a learning curve for me today at that meeting, what that 56 hour takes up. I mean, if we're expecting 56 hours of pure patrol, we are very misunderstood of really what they're doing. So I think coming out of that meeting, and I'll speak for myself, I certainly got a better understanding of what they're doing within that 56 hours. I think that they kind of got an understanding of where we were coming from and why we were coming from that angle, whether we were getting calls or complaints or emails asking what they were doing. Again, I think they are doing the fine job and getting a true better understanding. We've asked for maybe a clear, defined report that we get from them, which is going to be coming with the new system. I put out some suggestions that I think that I would like to see happen and help. There was a paper they submitted, excuse me, you gotta sneeze, maybe not. Of some suggestions or, excuse me, 3 things that we can look at recommendations that may help us here in the short term, long term, or how we want to handle it. I have handed that out tonight, so if we want to, certainly don't decide tonight, take a look at this. And I think they're onto a couple things here. We can do some suggestions or recommendations ourselves, but I think it was a very good first step. I won't go on too far, but maybe coming around the next meeting, we are going to meet in 4 weeks. But I think it was a great first start to open the dialogue and certainly respect the fact of what they're doing, because I got a clear, certainly understanding of what's going on, and I think that may be, I don't want to say misinformed, but I think that misinterpret what's going on out there.
It's different with everything that Mark said.
Yep.
I learned some things, and I think with these proposals that they made to us, and it's not going to all happen overnight, but I think in time we can come to some agreement where we're all going to be happy.
I truly believe what we're contracted for in the 56 hours in this day and age, and maybe this is something that went into place years ago and we've discontinued it, certainly it's not enough. It's really not. And we've just got to recognize that budget-wise, we're going to have to probably do something if we really want the coverage that we think we're going to need. And I think we can all sit down and come up with something that's going to work for the citizens and let them decide which avenue they want to go. And for more coverage, it obviously does cost, but I think there's some great recommendations here that they put together, and I think that we can work something positive out. So again, thank them for the time today.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. Chad's on if you want that anything.
Yep. Did you want to add anything, Chad?
Maybe he's away.
No, guess not.
Nope.
Yeah. Do you want to go into executive session?
Yes.
Yeah. Entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I move that we find that we enter executive session for selected board to receive confidential personnel information for the premature disclosure of its general public would clearly place the select board and others at a substantial disadvantage.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Wait a second.
No, I second.
10. Yep.
I will second that.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. No action taken. Oh, where are we? Newtown business. Public hearing naming new subdivision. Page 4, David.
Yeah, the notice is given and there's a map of
Okay.
the road. This is off of Route
207.
207, yeah.
Control is just like really
And
Where is that?
Nelson's Way, it's from the official.
I submitted 3 names, and I picked one that was compatible with 911. The other 2 had similar sounding names. And
I'm trying to figure out where it is, and all the area's pretty good.
In between 207 and 89?
Oh, okay. Is that,
Where that development is on the.
yeah, no, it's way down towards St. Albans End. I see a property owner name here, I recognize.
Where are you, Rick?
Who's the property owner?
Oh.
Is he on there? Is it Hudgepole?
Jamie Nelson, that's
Yeah.
right across from Ed Bracy's, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's what I thought
Yeah.
it was, okay. I heard they were making a subdivision in there.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah,
His,
I made
simple
a-
enough.
his wife's old homestead.
That's the homestead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made
Um,
a recommendation to the zoning administrator and the DRB that when they approve one of these, that they require them to submit 3 names then.
Yep,
What they've been doing, they just approve them without any
Yep.
thing to pick
should have
from.
a name.
And I can't give 911 numbers
Mhm.
without an
Right.
official name.
Nelson's way.
And it's the select board that has the authority to
Good.
name even private roads. So
Simple enough.
when I get the names, I compare them to existing names.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll entertain a motion to name this subdivision Nelson's Way.
No, the
What?
street,
Street?
not the subdivision.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah, street name. Yep,
I'll make that motion to accept Nelson's Way.
I second.
all right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let's have it. Simple enough. There we go.
Excuse me,
Yes,
is Nelson's Way apostrophe S or just S?
No, you can't use apostrophes
Okay.
anymore. In
yeah.
New 911.
N-E-L-S-O-N-S.
Yep.
Yep.
He had an apostrophe, but I couldn't
Yeah.
put it in because the state doesn't allow it.
Yep, that's all right. I'll give it back to the judge. Okay, discuss grant and aid letter intent 7. What's that, David?
That's one of these small grant aids to improve ditches so they
Oh,
can
yeah.
road.
Yep.
And,
Better back roads type thing?
Yeah, similar.
Yep.
The Regional Planning Commission does the actual application for us, but in this case, it has to be related to hydrological piece of the road where you have a brook or something going under it, or water within 100 feet of it,
Yeah.
standing water. I submitted the original letter last fall,
Mm-hmm.
and then they came out with the newer part of the grant this year. I checked with Kevin, and I talked to the regional planner that's working on this grant, and she mentioned the different places that are considered hydrologically connected, the different roads, and Kevin couldn't come up with any that haven't already been addressed. So I don't know, I put it on here tonight in case someone else can think of
So
something.
we can get $14,000 in grants, and then matching, of course, your in kind is the 3,500.
Yeah.
So, well, let me do a little
Do something.
discussion
Just to
between
give
you
you
and
an
Kevin and
example.
I and see if we can find out somewhere to, that we
Yeah,
can use that.
on,
So,
You can take
I
it.
don't give away free money.
no, I know, it's too good.
No, and we do all the work ourselves, so it doesn't really cost us anything, so.
Yeah,
No,
the Sean Road and Comstock Road are
Yeah.
2 that were done years ago,
Yeah.
under a similar grant.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
But if you can think of
all right.
something where.
But it had, what did you say real quick? Again, it has to be, the road has
Hydrologically connected.
to what?
Water.
Water.
To water.
Yeah,
So
in
any
other words,
road that has, oh,
If a
okay.
brook goes under,
Runoff has to go
or
to
if
the,
there's
to
a
a road.
body like a
Yeah.
pond within 100
Okay.
feet, I think
Yeah,
they consider hydrologically
Okay.
connected. It's the
Yeah.
point of these is to prevent siltation from getting
Yep.
in the lake.
yep. Okay. All right, well, I'll work on that a little bit in my spare time, I got a lot of, so,
Yeah, there's,
yeah. But,
the work has to be completed by the end of October.
okay, and it has the, when does it have to be in by?
Well, when we apply for it, there's no deadline for getting it in that I saw.
Okay, but we have to do the project by the 31st of October.
Yeah, and I'll
Okay.
double check with the
All right.
regional planner on that.
All right, I'll get with Kevin and
Just to
we'll
make
see what
sure.
we can come up
But
with for
yeah,
that.
he couldn't think of
Yeah.
anything.
Okay. There's gotta be something out there, we could.
Yeah, we can make something up.
Yep,
Something that drains in wetlands, there's lots of that around.
yeah, exactly. Okay,
Road payment update.
Yeah, I got one more thing. C, we added, we're gonna appoint a new rec commissioner, and that's gonna be Ed. White is gonna be our new rec commissioner, and I hear a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion that we reappoint Ed White for rec commission.
I will second.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Other than thank you for doing that, Ed, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nice to have it. Road paving update, other Old Town business. Oh, I got a whole list here, guys, so.
Oh, boy.
So I've been punching the numbers. Did some riding around last Thursday or Friday with Kevin, looking at roads. Obviously, we opened the bids and we were gonna go with Pike, but of course, we don't have enough money to pave everything we wanted to pave. So what I've come up with is, obviously, we can't pave Beaver Road, we didn't get the grant. So Frontage Road, Canal Road, Sugar Maple Drive, Gauthier Drive, Lasnier Road. I think I got them all. Let me look at my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we pave all 5 of those roads, we've got $336,697 and change. It comes out to be on the estimate they gave us. We only have $288,000 in our budget. So my theory is that we have $137,000 in carryover money. So I want to take $50,000 in carryover money, put towards that in the paving, so we can get these roads paved that we desperately need to pave. We rode around, looked at them. I mean, the Lasnier Road down there it's horrible. You know, I know there's not a lot of houses on it, but it gets a lot of heavy traffic. I mean, it's all coming apart. It's all broke up.
What is that, Jim?
Lasnier Road's down off of Calm Shore before you get to the beach on the right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
And we look around, wheel around. I know wheel around needs to get paved, but it's not, you know, it's not all falling apart. But definitely, if we don't get money for it this year, we'll have to pave it next
Well, that's
year.
what I was gonna ask, the
Yeah.
roads that we have on there this year, can we
Mhm.
maybe put them as a priority for next year?
We can do that, yeah. No, they're definitely a priority, yeah. But that's the only best theory I've got. You know, I mean, we try to pave all the roads in the same area where the paver's there to,
Yeah.
you know, and it's certainly not paving any road that doesn't need to be paved. I can
What's
tell
that
you.
last one there, you said?
That Lasnier Road?
Last year,
Yeah,
last year,
that's-
sure, maybe.
The other ones we had, 2 that we had on there, obviously Beatty Road, and then Wheel Around and Ferris Street. And
So Sugar Maple and Guthrie, you're gonna hit them while you're there, so it's.
exactly, they're all in. Pinell Road's right across the road, and you just go up Bashaw, and you're right there to Sugar Maple and Gauthier.
How far down that canal road are we going? Right to where
Only
our
to
line
the,
ends?
to the long,
tunnel?
yeah, just on the other side of the tunnel.
Okay.
It goes just past the to the old farmhouse.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going Cedar Ledge
Yep.
there.
gotcha.
So if you guys are good with that, that's what we're good with. And the other thing is these are estimates, so it could be a hair more, it could be a little less. We'll have
Oh,
to.
it ain't gonna be less.
Yeah, no, I know, and we'll just have to watch it, and when we get towards the end of last road, that we'll have to see where we're at with it's like the last road
That
dollar amount.
includes
So
using $50,000 of the carryover? is what
Yeah.
you're saying?
yeah, if you're all good with that, I mean, I don't want to use it all. I want to keep some there, you know.
You don't know
Sure.
the.
We don't know, you know. We already spent enough money on a truck. We're not going to get into that one, but you know, other things. But at least that extra 50 grand will help with that. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
You guys are good with that? All right, now here, entertain a motion then to take $50,000 from the carryover money to put towards the paving.
What does that leave in that carryover? What was it?
Well, it's $137,000, so it's gonna leave you $87,000 in there.
I'll make the motion to take $50,000 of the carryover money to put into the paving.
I'll second it.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Thank you, guys, I appreciate it.
David.
What do we got here? Oh, Rec Path trash can updates. I got great news. They're all installed.
Yep.
Yep. You guys installed them
Thank
today or
you
yesterday,
so
so
very much.
I went by tonight for up to look, but
Good.
they're installed, so.
Take a look.
Yep.
It certainly makes a huge difference, especially to the couple of citizens that go out on the rec path every day and collect trash daily.
I actually observed an elder couple, was it yesterday or Sunday, starting here on Grand Avenue behind Ed's place,
Yeah.
with some tongs, and I'm like, that's great
Those are
to
the
see.
couple that I
Yeah,
questioned.
so I think that to recognize him, I don't know him by name, but publicly, thank you. It certainly,
Yeah.
it makes a difference in our community, so good thanks.
Absolutely. Flags for veteran sponsorship update. David?
I designed a new order form
Okay.
for people who want to get them. I put it on the website today. If you like one, I'll get you one before the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
And so people that are interested, there's already a waiting list of people who on their own contacted me about getting them.
Yeah.
And we have about probably 25 still open
Okay.
that people can apply for,
Right.
out of the total 40 that the board approved.
Cool.
And so it's on the link to the form is on the website on the first page and on the veterans page. If people want to copy it and put an order in and bring the money in to Kathy.
I'll just throw it out there real quick that we opted to order 40 more flags for people that listen to this. I know it's recorded. And if anybody who wants to purchase one of those flags, they can contact David here at the town office, and they'll put your name on the list and tell you how to pay for it and everything. And he says as of now there's about 25 roughly left, so just so it's on camera, people watch it.
And just make sure, David, I recommend, take a look at that link I sent you for the tag holders. It'll be waterproof, they're sealed, you want to change them.
Oh, yeah, I did. They're kind of small. They're only business card size, which means
No.
Yeah, like, oh yeah.
the ones that were on there.
I'll take a look. And I also recommend,
And some had a solid backing. We need something completely clear.
you can get, we have both, we have clear ones. So, the other part is, I recommend that we get reusable zip ties, for us to keep buying zip ties and cutting them and throwing away. You can buy 1,000 for $36 in different ways. So if you write this down, a company called Uline, U-L-I-N-E.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I get that book. Yeah.
So, okay. But I'll look that up and get you.
Yeah, if you pick the one out, you think of it.
Yep.
The one I saw were.
Yeah, we have solids and clear through.
Okay. Good on that. Community economic development, did you have anything for us tonight, or are you gonna save it for the next meeting?
Well, I was gonna go, do you want to, I was gonna talk about the.
Go, what?
the
Oh, yeah.
municipal funds.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
Too many things going on tonight.
So, and I sent this to you via email.
Yes, you did, I peeked at it real quick.
Thank you.
I thought that was an awful long list of stuff.
Well, and there's,
Yeah.
some stuff obviously doesn't apply, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to not include it,
Yeah.
just because it didn't apply.
Mhm.
So the,
Wow,
Yeah.
an education here.
a little bit, and we're not making any decisions, I shouldn't say.
No, we're not,
say
it's
that.
okay, we're not making a decision, we're gonna talk about it.
We're just,
Yeah.
it's just to start the conversation.
Yeah.
So it is confirmed that the village is getting approximately $124,317 this year, and then $124,317 next year, for a total of $248,633. And if I can repeat those, if I
Yeah.
went too fast.
When you say this year, next year, you're talking,
So you get them in two
They're
tranches.
splitting it in 2 payments.
So you
Okay.
get
Yeah.
one, so then the town will
Mhm.
get $218,745 this year, $218,745 next year,
Yeah.
for a total of $437,490. That doesn't include any potential county funds. They still are trying to figure out the county, what they're gonna do with the county money. So that's what, the portal is open. The state has 30 days to release the funds. So the clock started ticking on the 9th, so we have until July 9th.
we have to submit what we're using that for, is that?
I haven't, the portal is open. I clicked through a couple of times, but I didn't want to click the magic button, so I didn't go that far. I believe you just requested that you will have to do a report, so you have to do a report by, through any activities through September 30th,
Yep,
by October 31st.
that's how I'm reading, yeah.
Yeah, but it's basically our money, as long as we follow the guidelines, they will come get it if you don't follow the guidelines. There's a recruitment process, so,
So we gotta figure out by October 31st how we're gonna spend this
no,
money?
you have to, if you spend any money, whatever activity, the activity could be, we requested the money.
Yeah,
That's the only activity.
Oh, okay.
So it's just what you've done in,
Yeah.
through September, and then it's quarterly. So you have time to decide. I just, are we going, you don't have to request the money. We could
Yeah.
let the state keep it.
No, let's request the money.
I have
Yeah.
some ideas, but what I had kind of thought was if, and obviously this is not my decision, but if David, me, James sat down with Reg and Neil, brainstormed some ideas that we have, and then brought it back to the trustees and to the select board for any additional ideas, we could start that conversation that way. I don't know if you want to.
I know that me and Reg had a discussion a month or so ago about this, and he kind of wanted us to have a joint meeting between the select board and the trustees to talk about it, but unless he's changed his mind.
Well, and
Yeah.
him and I kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. I think you could go either way. It's whatever makes the most sense. I know you get too many people throwing too many ideas out there. It gets to be a
Yeah.
lot, which is why I was thinking if we had a smaller group who kind of got it started.
Yeah. The only thing I'd like to see everybody's idea on this. It's not a little thing, you know.
Right, and the other thing I would like for us to consider, because I do think that a lot of it, I know that the village is getting their, and I have not had this conversation with them, I don't know that it's my place to, but I would like to see us kind of consider the one in Swanton, where just because it might be in the village, we couldn't help out, or if it's in the town, the village wouldn't help out. That it's, we're cognizant that in the end, it helps all of Swanton.
Yeah.
Because I have ideas.
Can we commingle?
You cannot commingle.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well, you can,
That's
we
what I'm
can't give
asking.
them to it, but if it's a project that's in the village, we could help that same project. Or
Okay,
vice
that's what I was
versa.
asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can the village and the town do the same thing
Yeah.
on the same person?
Yeah.
Or not individual or company, whatever.
Okay.
Does anybody want to talk about this, or do you want to just look at it and
I
maybe
did
take it
highlight a
home?
few things, and I have one of my formatting got off a little bit. So, small businesses and nonprofits, which is 1A5, so about halfway down the middle page.
Yep.
You can do loans or grants to mitigate financial hardship, and amongst other things, and other operating costs, so businesses that were hit hard by the pandemic. 8, so number 9, just on the bottom of the page, 8 impacted industries. They focus on travel, tourism, and hospitality. In hospitality, that's a wide area, so that's a lot of businesses. So those are kind of the two that are very broad. Right at the top of the second page, and there is a business that I know for a fact that has been affected. Now, it is in the village, so that's a conversation there with the village, but aid for a planned expansion or upgrade of tourism, travel, and hospitality facilities. So if somebody tried to expand a business but couldn't because of COVID, they could be eligible for some of this money. And there's a business on First Street that, and then water and sewer infrastructure, and I know that the village is looking at that, but I want to think about some opportunities. I know 200,000 really isn't a lot when you start talking infrastructure, but is there anything that we could do? Just, there may be ideas out there, so. I didn't focus so much on broadband. There's a lot of focus on broadband, and our folks are, town residents are sitting actually pretty well, given everything. There's a lot of broadband money, so that is another option. Bless you. So those were kind of the highlights. There's some housing, and there's some other things, but obviously, I just wanted to start the conversation.
Good.
If we want to get the funds, we need to do it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I think maybe,
So, go ahead.
because you had suggested maybe we all just take a look over this the next couple of days and just highlight one and get with Elizabeth maybe what our thought is, and then, if it's something that they want to go forward with or have a discussion on, then we say, this is our idea and why. It's going to go along with you. But you don't want a group of 30 people, because then you're just, so to speak.
I'm good. That's good to me. Anything else?
I think that's the kind of the highlight.
Okay.
There is a vacant storefront, as we're all aware, I believe.
Yep.
On Merchants Row. It's for sale, it's not a secret.
Yeah.
There's a for sale sign. I am working with somebody who may be interested in that property. That may come as a surprise to the realtor, but we're in early stages. There's somebody who may be interested, and then I have somebody on the back burner who may be interested in that property as well.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good.
working that one kind of hard because it's a
Yeah, big storefront.
Yeah, it is. So
Absolutely.
those are my highlights.
Okay. Oh, expenditure. Yeah. Oh,
sorry.
come on.
You know, just, I don't know if it's a conversation to have now or if it's just you and Nicole about going to one meeting a month.
Oh. Elizabeth asked me about just doing one meeting a month, because technically she's not doing minutes anymore.
I for her go to the meeting.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
come one.
So do
just one.
my report monthly
Yeah.
instead of bi-weekly.
I don't have
Makes
that. Makes
Yeah.
sense, so, yeah.
We'll miss you though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'll see, because I'll be.
Yeah, I think he's making a few minutes for us, so. All right, general orders. I hear an order, motion to approve general orders from May 19th, 2021 to June 15th, 2021.
I make a motion that we approve general orders from May 19, 2021 to June 15, 2021.
All right, I'll get a second on that.
I'll second that.
All right. Take a minute, look at them.
And it's one big packet, so just keep flipping from that. Thank you, ma'am.
What was the copier bill for? For copier setup and,
For our new copier we got.
oh, we got a new one?
Mhm.
Oh,
It was
you guys
time-
killed the other one?
No, it was time to, our 5 years is up.
Oh, a lease deal or whatever.
Yeah.
Do we go through SimQuest?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
It's more because we had the setup fee and the dock fee, but it's actually went down about
Yeah.
$58 a month. What we were paying for.
Yep. Super. I don't see anything else. All right, everybody good?
Good.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Anything else? Trying to find the highway. I must have missed the cover sheet. There we go. I'll entertain a motion to approve the highway orders May 19th, 2021 to June 15th, 2021.
I will make a motion to accept the highway orders, May 19th, 2021 to June 15th, 2021.
I second it.
All right, any discussion?
Kathy, do you want to just talk on that?
The Astra.
Comcast?
Oh,
Yeah.
I already had cut the check for us because we were not late. So when I was reviewing it, I realized that I had hit the highway fund for for this office telephone and Comcast.
Yeah.
So I couldn't void the check because I sent it so we wouldn't be late. So I had to do a general ledger adjustment.
Yeah.
So that's what this little attachment is showing that I took it
Good
from,
enough? Sounds good to me.
gave it back to the highway and
Okay.
put it where it belongs.
Sounds good.
And did you decide on that other bill? Did they call you?
No, I'm gonna have to try to call him tomorrow. Yeah, and I'll just throw it out there real quick. We have that one bill left from Clark's on the original truck that I was contesting. He was supposed to get back to me a month ago, and no one's called me back, and I told him not to pay it until they talked to me, so. I will try to reach out to the owner.
They'll come knocking too, right?
Well, that's it. I figured they'd call me, but, yeah, so I'll try to touch base with them tomorrow this week for sure.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Payrolls, May 19th, 2021 to June 15th, 2021.
I'll make the motion to accept the payroll orders dated May 19, 2021 to June 15, 2021. I second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it.
Before we move on,
Yep.
not to go backwards, but you are authorizing David to request the funds from the state?
Oh, yeah, we can. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
just said you didn't want, but I just wanted to be clear.
No, you guys all go to request those, we might as well request them. and-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I just,
Oh, yep, no, that's fine, you good with that? Do we need to vote on that, David, for you to,
We wouldn't hurt.
okay.
Never hurt.
I'll entertain a motion to, appoint, have David, ask for the funds from the state for the
I'll make that motion for authorize David to ask for the funds for the fiscal recovery fund.
There we go, that's what I was looking for, the name, yep.
I will second that motion.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. All right, that's done. That's all we sign. Oh, highway, discuss dumping the materials on town road and ditches. We got an anonymous complaint about someone dumping grass clippings in our right of way. Normally, we don't entertain anonymous complaints because no one puts their name on them. But I did drive by there with Kevin last week. The guy that does the lawn service is dumping the lawn clippings along the roadway on the side of the road. It's creating a slimy mess, if you wanna call it that. So I asked David to send the homeowner a letter saying that they need to stop doing that and clean up what they've dumped in our right of way. It's not okay, because the problem is it's gonna keep eroding and that's gonna rot and the ditch is gonna start falling in the side of the road's gonna fall in the ditch from doing it. They shouldn't be doing that. And by the looks of it, we're dumping it, it's not even on their property, it's in front of a cornfield that's next to them, so.
Maybe
Yeah.
an educational piece, not realizing really what harm they may be creating by doing it, and just think it's just grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's maybe part of it.
But, yeah, and that's why I said, just have David send him a letter saying that, you can't be doing that. Updates, we're back in action mowing again. We've had several tire issues with the tractor. A couple weeks ago, it was a valve stem, so they put a new tube in one side. And then 2 days later, they got back on the road and it blew a tire on the other side, so we had to replace the tire. Waited for a week, of course, because you can't get a part or anything, so now it's back in action. And now the tube they fixed on the other side was leaking again as of this morning, but they blew it up and he's out mowing. So I haven't talked to Kevin about it today to see if they came back and fixed it, but they were supposed to fix it yesterday. But so we're out mowing. We're doing our roadside mowing, trying to get it cleaned up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just one question that I recognize, and maybe it's just minor, but
Yeah.
I recognize that we leave the mower outside. during the
Tractor.
Tractor.
Yeah.
Should we maybe be putting that under cover? I mean, it's raining out. I mean,
Yeah.
what does that do to it? For me,
Yeah. Normally it's always parked under the canopy, but they're using it every day, so it's probably parked in front of the garage.
I just see that on the rain. For me, it's a valuable piece of equipment. It costs money, and maybe we should. I know we're
Yeah.
using it every day, but
Yeah. No, I could put it
Maybe-
back under the canopy.
maybe put it
It's
away.
not a big
That-
deal, but
that's-
yeah. No, it's generally always parked under the canopy when we're not using it, so. Nope, that's fine. I'm just gonna throw it on, it wasn't on the agenda, but I'm gonna throw it under highway, the windows, David. You've signed the contract with the guy, the
Not
contractor?
yet, I
No.
sent him the form that Kathy gave me.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be fine.
And I'm waiting for him to get that back to me.
Okay. Right.
And also, once he does that, he has a 20% deposit that we have to send him
Yep.
up front
Yep.
to start. There were
Don't worry
a
about this.
couple things in there that he wanted to change. One was, and I talked to James about it first, the 3-year warranty that was in there. He said it's typically 1.
Yeah.
And James confirmed that, so we changed
Yeah,
that to 1.
typically one.
on the work.
That's
That's
what-
workmanship, yeah.
Yeah, not the windows. The windows have a
Right.
longer.
Yeah, it does have a long warranty.
And then
so-
the other thing was, there was a requirement that if, when the workers are inside, they have to wear a mask. But that's an ongoing changing thing now because of the dropping of the emergency. And I told them that I'd leave it in there, but, because at that time we didn't know that the governor was gonna do what he did
Yeah.
tonight.
Before they start, we can assess that.
Yeah,
and deal with
I
that.
said, yeah.
As I said to David, if they're working in this room by themselves, I don't think it's a big deal with them wearing a mask. But if they're up front working near somebody's desk, then definitely, they probably. But we can cross that bridge when they get ready to start.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's gonna be 2 months away anyway. So.
So I redid those parts of the contract and sent that back along with Kathy's form, and I need to hear from you.
All right.
And I told him as soon as I get his signature on there also, so I didn't send it back.
Okay. Anybody anything else for highway?
Just one question, maybe more under business. I recognize tonight, I go for a ride around BB Road, not sure whose land it is between BB Road and the river in certain sections. But I noticed that certainly looks within the right of way, somebody's dumping gravel, chunks of cement, maybe pavement in there. I don't know if that's something we're doing or something
No, it
everybody's
ain't
doing.
us. Yeah.
We might want to just take a look at that.
Yeah.
Because it certainly looks like it's within the right of way. It looks like they're plowing it towards the riverbank,
Yeah.
but I certainly.
I'll have Kevin
Might wanna
take a look at that. I know right what you're talking about too, because they put a field in there in the past.
Yep. So,
Chad Rowe claims he owns that.
Yeah.
but it's still in
It's-
the right of way.
Yeah, as long as they're not in there right away, it's not.
Just take a look at it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I know,
Yeah, I'll
it was
have
easily
Kevin make
recognizable
sure.
tonight.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta stop riding around, Mark.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very observant.
He's riding around with Linda. Yeah. His car. Is that what you called it? I called it.
Oh,
That's why I said your car. That's it for highway. I just threw under unnecessary business the building. Now that they've changed lifted all the mandates, then we need to open our meeting back up to the public.
correct.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
So I just wanted to throw it out there that.
Effective midnight tonight, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then, I mean, there's no choice. In order to make
Yeah.
an open meeting law,
Yeah.
you have to allow the public back in.
And
Whether you want to continue on Zoom is the other issue.
yeah.
I think that we should continue on Zoom. I think it's a service to the public is maybe it's an inconvenience to us sometimes trying to get
Yeah.
this stuff up and running. But then again, it's gonna fall on whether we get that person in here that can help us run it. Kathy's done a great job tonight. But again, I think at this time we should. I think there's some real advantage to it. I'd rather meet in person. That's the way I am. But
Yeah.
again, not everybody can
It's
make
not
it.
always easy here, but
Absolutely.
some people like it. Sometimes it's convenient.
It definitely makes it more accessible to some people that
Mhm.
can't get here.
Yep.
So.
No, that's fine. All right. Yeah. Anything else under that?
Well, good.
Public.
Well,
Yeah.
well, just that
Yeah.
notices now have to be, go back to being posted in 3 public places instead
Yeah.
of just
Yeah.
electronically.
Sure. So, real quick under the open the building. So, as far as you taking reservations for people doing search work and stuff, are we still doing that? Or are we gonna?
Well, we are because we're booked out like 2 weeks, so.
Okay.
We really just still can't have people.
Yeah.
I mean, and once again, a lot of the people like to schedule their appointment because if they stop in and someone's on the computer,
Yeah.
sometimes they have to wait and it's a first come, first served, so
Yeah.
sometimes they have to wait half hour, 45 minutes.
Mhm.
Sometimes they don't, they'll do their other work, it's fine. Like today I had an array of people and I had scheduled appointments and I had walk-ins too.
Yeah, walk-ins too. Okay.
I think we should probably just reevaluate it first of the month. It just gives us another 2
So we're just
minutes.
trying to
Yeah.
get this. And we're actually booked to July 7th.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
say just from a kind of an observer side, that it works well when they know who's coming in.
Yeah.
And then if there's walk-ins and then somebody's on the computer, but the person doesn't need the computer,
Yep.
it seems smoother
Yep.
than, just for the research.
Fine.
Like I had
Fine.
someone researching, and I knew someone who came in doesn't use the computer.
Yep.
So I said, yeah, come on in, because I know you're not gonna be looking for the computer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they only use the book, so
Oh,
you kinda know
you-
your
Sure.
people who come in.
You
and
do just fine
get
even
them
with
in
yourself.
there now.
Yep.
I think
To
right.
accommodate
And,
them.
if someone walks in the door and they need something, then we'll accommodate them. You know.
And if someone calls and cancels, we know someone who called, we'll go call and say,
Yep.
you know, you can come in, we had a cancellation, someone left early, come on in.
We'll just keep evaluating
It
as we
works
go.
pretty good, it's,
I think most people.
I haven't heard any complaints, so apparently it's working smoothly. So we would hear. Do you have anything, David? Necessary business? No.
No.
Public comment. Anybody got anything? Talk about a public comment? It's pretty quiet out there. Yeah, no public. Upcoming events, DRB, Development Review Board meeting, Thursday, June 24th, 6 PM by Zoom for public. Are they still doing, technically, they're gonna have to open it back up too.
Everybody is.
So, basically, they're gonna, it's not really, they're still gonna continue with Zoom, but the people can come here from public, so.
Yeah, I mean, I told Amy today, because her DRB meeting for the month is already noticed,
Yep,
that I put a notice, a general notice on the electronic sign that all public
Yep.
meetings are now open to the
Okay.
public.
Yep.
So people know they can come in even if it's advertised.
okay.
Zoom For now.
Sounds good. Independence Day holiday, Monday, July 15th. Town offices and operation will be closed. Next select board meeting is Tuesday, July 6th, 7 PM by Zoom and also by the public's welcome in now, so. We don't need executive session, we're done with that. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn, select board meeting at 8:46.
I'll let you second. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, ayes have it, we're adjourned at 9:45, 8:45.